ever since foretelling the Packers to win Super Bowl 31, Bosttradamus knew he has a gift. Envisioning the rise and dominance of the San Antonio Spurs, the championships, and those of the 2004 Detroit Pistons, 2008 Boston Celtics, 2015 Golden State Warriors, and KD's addition being a great thing. The 2011 UConn Huskies with Kemba as MVP. The rebirth of Jon Snow and his true parents. The rise of Seattle Seahawks and their Super Bowl 48 victory. The recent success and playoff berth of the Oakland Raiders. Rodgers bringing Green Bay back from 2 games to win the division, as well as division wins by the Falcons, Pats, Steelers, and Seahawks. Is Bosttradamus prophet, human seer, or something much more?
Bosttradamus here with my most bold predictions yet. Not really. I'm taking Golden State to win it all. My first NBA show. Been excited about this. NBA season's been great. I think NBA's playing at a real high level right now. The East came around and made things interesting with Washington, Toronto, and Boston looking all right. Cleveland hasn't played well on the road. So I still think Cleveland will win the East. I picked Golden State early. Said Durant going there was a great thing. Everybody was crying about it. I kind of liked it. You saw last year, Harrison Barnes, he's a great player, but he missed some big shots. And shots, if they had a guy like Durant, I think they would have beat Cleveland. So I think they'll win this year in the NCAA March Madness edition I did about a month ago. I thought I soured on them a little bit as a bandwagon San Antonio fan. I wanted to watch San Antonio get in the mix, and they're definitely a big time team, but they didn't win some big games down the stretch, and Golden State did. They went on that tear before Durant got back, won like 11 games in a row, and they do have that center rotation that's going to be crucial against guys like Aldridge, and if they play Oklahoma City, or even the Clippers with Griffin, I think the Clippers are going to be a tough matchup for them. And Damian Lillard will probably have a big series as well. He's real fired up. Said Portland will win in 5 or 6 games. So I definitely like that Portland backcourt. And probably the best trade of the year, they traded Plumlee for that the big European kid. And he's played great. It was crazy. He was pretty good in Denver. Denver was actually ahead of Portland. And after that trade, Portland passed. They were like 3.5 games back and passed Denver to get that last playoff spot. Lillard and McCollum are better than anybody for Denver, so it wasn't a big surprise. But great trade for them to get in the mix. I don't think Golden State will have much of a problem, but they might. I don't know. Portland might. I don't see Golden State losing at home to Portland, but Portland is the kind of team I've seen Portland beat. I think they won at San Antonio, a game I got to watch, and they just scored a ton of points down the stretch. And San Antonio kept playing their game, was playing great, and Portland just outplayed them. So I think Portland is a team with capability to, if they get another big time player. I don't think they need a real big time swing forward but they need a big time forward to get in the mix and help that team out. But they got at the center of the future, so I think they got their 3 players they need. Just got to rotate some other guys. They brought in Vonleh. I don't know if he's going to be that guy. Then San Antonio at Memphis. I think Memphis could definitely give San Antonio problems. Kawhi Leonard's one of the more interesting players to watch in this Western Conference playoffs. Because other than him, it's a huge playoff series for LaMarcus Aldridge, biggest playoff series of his life, really. Because unlike last year, where they still had Duncan and he was, they were a tag team. It's all on him this year, and he's covering Gasol and Randolph. If Zach Randolph's got anything in the tank, this could be a real interesting series. San Antonio, Parker doesn't look like his Parker was a huge part of at least two, if not, or have, geez, I think he's won at least three. I know he's won three. I can't remember if he's won four or not. I know he wasn't on the first San Antonio team with David Robinson, but the first two, when basically every series where Parker's won it for him, he's been a big time player, and I just don't know if he is that anymore. And Patty Mills is a solid backup, but I just don't know if they have what it takes. That's why there's so much on Kawhi Leonard. They've been playing all kinds of different guys at the two guard as well, and Pau Gasol just doesn't look that great to me. I always wondered why he was in trade rumors and stuff like that, but he hadn't been looking too great in a team he seems like he'd fit in with. But he turns the ball over a lot with his. Supposed to be a good passer, but he's been turning the ball over a lot. So I think San Antonio will get to play Golden State, but they got their hands full with the Oklahoma City Houston winner. I'm gonna talk about that after the Utah game, because that's definitely the most intriguing matchup is Oklahoma City Houston, one of the best first round matchups in a while. Utah and the Clippers, I think this is a classic case of a veteran team playing against a young team. Utah's a great team, but they don't have the point guard. They've brought in 3 or 4 different guys to play. Used a lot of draft picks on point guards, and things haven't panned out. Even though they've Favors, Hayward, and Gobert are big time players, so they've got their front court. And Rodney Hood's been playing better. But when you got Chris Paul should have a huge series right here. I think if there's any kind of close games, look for him to make some big plays. Definitely be the MVP of that series if they're going to win it in 5 or 6 games. But it could be an interesting series. But definitely the granddaddy of the West Coast first round matchups, or basically the whole tournament's first round matchup, is Oklahoma City Houston. Got the 2 MVPs going head to head. I can't wait for this one. Russell's so about right after the All-Star break, everybody was talking about Harden for MVP, and I was drinking that Kool-Aid, and Houston looked great. They were on fire. They looked like they could be in the mix for the 2 seed, and basically outscore teams. You could definitely argue that they've got the number 1 offense, the way they score points, but Oklahoma City definitely a different team with Russell. They've got the 2 big centers. They got some other nice players. Oladipo fit in pretty well, but Russell's season was really underestimated, I think, a lot by the media, and not anymore. I don't. You got to give him credit. He's definitely the MVP. The triple-double number is just crazy. Like that Oscar Robinson number, I never thought that would get broken. No one's even come close. It's never even been a topic until this year, and he did it not easily. He barely did it, but it's an impressive record. So hats off to him. I read a great story about him. I didn't realize a good friend of his passed out on the court when he was in high school. One of his best friends helped become him a great player. So that definitely made me like Russell more. I have been the guy that in the past said, turns the ball over too much, won't be on a championship team, and I don't think this team will be a championship team. But he's definitely a great player and fun to watch. And NBA can't ask for much more. Super athletic and just do everything. So who's going to win this? I don't know. I think Oklahoma City could be a bad matchup for Houston. I'm going to pick San Antonio to beat the winner of this, but the winner of this series could definitely beat San Antonio as well. So Houston could definitely outscore them, and it'd be interesting who covers Russell for San Antonio. I guess they would put Kawhi on him, but I'll take Houston to win in 7. I've been back and forth on it, but I'm going to take Houston. But I think this will be a real good one. I I think the over is probably going to be like 230 every game or something crazy. And I mean, if it'll be interesting if any of their games one of the teams scores less than 100. I think you're looking at 100 points with 5-10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter in some of these games. So it'll be real interesting. So that's what I got in the West. In the East, got to take Cleveland. Cleveland, I think, was 20-21 on the road, though, so that's not what you want from a championship team. Atlanta played great down the stretch, and I do like the Atlanta-Washington matchup. I think that'll be real interesting because Atlanta's been hot, and I think Millsap is a great player for Atlanta that could really cause problems for Washington and make this series interesting. But the way Washington was playing down the stretch, I think they'll win this. Toronto at Milwaukee. Milwaukee's got some big-time players. Might be a team of the future for sure. But they've been rotating their point guards, and it'll be interesting to see if Kyle Lowry gets the whole question with them, if they can be, because I think they're the one team that could give Cleveland matchup problems. Or really, you'd have Ibaka versus Love, Lowry versus Kyrie if he's healthy, could be a really interesting matchup. And they've got one of the 5 best players you can ask for to cover LeBron, so I think that's the team. I like Boston over Chicago, no problem. So the Boston-Toronto series to me is the toughest to pick, and I think I'm gonna go. It's tough. I'm gonna go Boston, but just because I don't know how serious this Lowry injury is, and Lowry versus Isaiah Thomas would be just a great matchup. The way Isaiah's been playing, can he keep scoring 10-plus points in the fourth quarter? It'll be real interesting to see. I think he can. I think he'll be the difference in that series. But the way they looked against Cleveland, I don't know. I think the fact they got home court could make it interesting, because if it does get to a Game 7 in Boston, you might even, by then you might like Boston in that game. Who knows what will happen? That would be a real interesting spread to come out right there. If Boston came out the favorite in that game, I would think they'd win big. But I don't know if they'll get there. I think Cleveland will probably, between Atlanta and Washington, I would think Washington could win a couple games and make that series interesting. But the Toronto-Boston series is going to be real physical, so the winner is probably going to get a pretty fresh Cleveland team. I did see the Cleveland-Indiana game just tipped off. I tried not to watch it, but I was looking something else up, and I saw they won by 1 point, so I didn't get to watch the game. I think another game's playing right now, but so I'm ready to wrap this up and go watch. But if Cleveland stays healthy, it's probably going to be them, and then I like Golden State. Real interesting story about Oklahoma, about Russell Westbrook's friend, though. I saw it. I think I'd heard someone mention it before, but reading the article was real well written on Vice Sports or something, which I've soured on Vice overall, but and their sports network's brand new, but the story was good. Reminded me of Brandon Warren from Hillcrest High School, so I just want to give a shout out to him. I always think about him every basketball season. He passed out on the court. He was one of the nicest kids and best basketball players I got to play against. All those guys at Hillcrest would, I think, beat us every time we play them. And but Brandon was one of the guys that would help me with my game after beat me down, because he knew I'd like to play a lot. So just crazy how that happens. But so I'm kind of ready to watch this Oklahoma City Houston. Should be a great matchup. I think the rest of the playoffs will. So I was thinking about doing a Kentucky Derby show. So if I do that, I might bring up the playoffs again. But those are my picks for now. Appreciate it.